just live now.
2, 1.
We're all live right now. We are live.
Let me know when we're live.
We are live. I just said we're live.
Hello, 9 seconds in. Welcome to the All Yeah Podcast. We're here live with the All Yeah Podcast crew.
Yes.
Mm.
So how you guys
So,
doing?
Dead air.
I believe people can. Johnny's gonna get pissed.
That's the best in the business.
Let's all listen to Johnny listen.
How you guys doing? You guys good?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm alive.
Johnny's gonna yell at us again. Yeah. What happened to you?
Well, should I
Yeah,
start from the
man.
beginning?
Yes. I want
Please.
to hear this.
So, we have baby that was due on Leap Day, February 29th. Baby Felicity, who arrived March 4th.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, man.
And
Indeed.
this is actually, I have a story about this, the delivery room, and it's tied to the All Yeah podcast, if you can believe it. But before then, let me backtrack. So my wife's name is Kendra, and Johnny's accidentally called her Kendall before. Several times. Called her Kendall.
Yeah.
So
He still calls her Kendall.
yeah,
Well, now
so
it's
we're
more of a joke, but yeah, I do still call it.
she's in labor, and it's like, this is a special moment. The baby's about to arrive, and I'm just so focused. And the nurse delivering the baby keeps saying, "Come on, Kendall, push, Kendall." So all I can think of during the birth of my child is Johnny. And that's I'm laughing, and I'm thinking, this is not the way this was supposed to go. Babies. She arrived, and I'm holding her, and I'm thinking of Johnny saying Kendall.
That's not a pregnancy.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, and then we brought baby Felicity home, and I started getting real sick as all this coronavirus news is going on.
Yep.
And I had like the checklist of all the symptoms, like 104.5 degree temperature, like body aches, chills, headache, all the stuff. And I'm watching the news, and the president says, if you need to get tested, you can get tested. Well, that wasn't true because
That's right.
my doctor was trying to get me tested. So
the president isn't exactly right.
So by the time I was tested, I tested negative for the virus, but I had been fever-free for 2 days. So my doctor still says you could have had the virus because I was tested for all these other viruses and flus, and I tested negative for those as well. So no one really knows what I had.
Did you have trouble breathing?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, at night,
Well, there you
my
go.
chest. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, when you hit 104, I'm like, oh, he's got it. I mean, show of hands, who thought Scoot had it? It already
Yeah.
counts twice, so
He
4 of
tells
us
a nice
did.
story.
Even late vote,
Yeah.
Franco, exactly.
Oh, so then the other part of the story, the worst part isn't like, obviously I felt that was like the worst I've ever felt with that 104 degree temperature. But the
Yeah.
worst part is waiting for the test results took a week, and I was under quarantine in my own house. So I couldn't see the baby.
Aw.
My son, Oliver, who's 4, had to stay with my parents. And I just was like upstairs, like living a different life than Kendra and the baby downstairs. So
Oh, man.
I would see her in passing and wave, but then she would like disinfect everything I touched in the living room and the kitchen. So yeah, I basically just stayed upstairs, and I was still feeling kind of like, I was trying to get back on track. So I wasn't even feeling like good enough to draw until, later on when everything kind of got back to normal. So that's where I've been.
Hi, honey. Hi, baby. I love you. That's great.
Yeah. Kendall.
Kendall.
Push,
So
Kendall. Push.
So you,
Come on,
are you
Kendall.
drawing now, Scoot?
Yeah, I'm
Can you
drawing.
get
I was
back to
drawing some
drawing?
cartoons today. I posted them on Facebook and Instagram. Scoot
saw it.
Comics is my Instagram. And I saw you guys liked them, so that's nice of you. Johnny didn't like any of them, but you guys did.
I liked a bunch of them on Instagram. You lie, sir.
So that's enough from me, though. I'll be right back.
Exactly. Yeah, you talked. That's more than you've talked on the last 3 podcasts.
I know.
Well, now you're on here. You can't hide now. We could see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can
That's
tell when
good.
you're just doing a home improvement project while you're drawing.
I'm
I have
glad you're
some-
back.
My
I was
drink.
able- I like your video of your baby girl you sent us too.
Oh, where
I
she's
like that, man.
She's
Yeah.
in
How did you
Gatorade.
get George Clooney to join the stream?
Yeah,
Well, it
Yeah.
wasn't bad. They
There
just
is.
asked me,
that was asked by Wayne. I just put out instructions on the Facebook stream on how to circumvent and get their names on here because right
Oh,
now
cool.
you see this is blank, so I just did that for the users.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can hear you twice now too. But
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to share it. I don't know how yet, so I'll share it after we're done instead of messing around. But I'm glad Scoot's back. I missed you.
Scoot, what kind of hat is that you have there, Scoot?
You know, do the impression.
Well, it looks like your hat is Lebanese, and it's from Toledo, and it looks like a mud hen's hat. Oh, what do you know?
And it likes Tony Pacos.
He likes MASH.
MASH. Yes, from the show MASH.
Mashed potatoes.
The baby.
Television series MASH.
Incidentally, I spent most of that time in various stages of dress that actually were worn by stars of the Fox lot. This was Deanna Durbin's dress.
That's true. He tells a story about, I think it was Mae West or somebody. He was wearing one of her dresses.
Yeah.
And I saw her in the commissary, and she came over to me, and she said, "Oh, you wore that dress better than I did." Ha, 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 ha. Oh, here's a good one. Here's another funny one. No, that's
When
what
I
he
parked
heard.
at Jerry Lewis's for a big party he was having.
Yeah.
Did they say like Klinger's a Disney princess now? Somehow
Yes.
MASH was owned by someone who got bought by someone who now is owned by Disney. Now he's
Yeah,
a princess.
Fox. Yeah, Fox
Mhm.
Studios
Yeah.
on MASH. So, yes.
True.
Ooh, I like the Kurt Swan icon that Robert Thompson has.
Thank
Oh,
you,
yeah.
Robert Thompson.
What's he say?
Like
Like the
the
shades,
shades,
right?
shades.
Oh yeah. Cool, man. I got him from my son, and we were about to stream, and I walked upstairs and I said, "I need sunglasses. Do we have sunglasses?" And Gordy looked at me and says, "Hold on, I'll get them. I got some." So he said, "Here you go, Dad." He's all cool. Here you go.
I was going to say with that picture of Kurt Swan Superman, that's that face he makes every time he's coming back from a night with Lois. Hey, how'd it go, Clark?
He's all right. Yeah.
Big
all
wink.
right, all right.
I like Pink very much, Lois. That's
Exactly.
what he
What if McConaughey was Clark Kent? How would that sound? I wonder. You know?
That's right, man. I like Pink very much, Lois.
The Loises keep getting younger, and Ice keeps getting. What's the line from?
Yeah. I keep getting older, but Lois still stays the same age.
Lois stays the same. She was a
First
bunch
words
of
ever said on film. All right, all right, all right.
all dressed up, very sharp.
All right, all
Kevin
right.
Bixby, my brother, good
Kryptonite.
man.
There he is.
Got the best last name in history.
Wow.
Bixby.
Hey, we had
Watching
dinner with that guy.
I was thirsty.
When
Clearly.
Skoke's done with that, he's going to pee in it.
Oh yeah, there's enough room, right?
He's gonna
I
fill
might
it right
have
back
to.
up.
If the plumbing stops working, if
Yeah.
it gets to that, I might have
I'll
to do
fart
that.
in a jar, just like Jamie's bar. Save
Tacos,
gas,
pickles,
fart in a
guys.
jar.
Now that I would buy.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big
No.
energy crisis bumper sticker. Save gas during the energy crisis, fart in a jar.
Oh, really?
Ooh, really?
That was in the what? That was in the 1930s, right? When you were a
It was the
teenager.
70s. That was the 70s.
Oh.
I'm like, it's like Rocky. What was that from? The 80s? I think it was from the 70s.
Always pretty good name.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Foley's a pretty good name.
oh.
The cool thing about these glasses, I could close my eyes. You guys don't know.
Just like fifth grade all over again. Exactly. Mr. Baltazar, would you like to join the class in a discussion?
Mm-hmm.
Mr.
I
Bassett.
remember getting yelled at in 6th or 7th grade, and the class was real quiet. And the teachers were strict in my 6th, 7th, and 8th grade class. And I had leaned over to say something really quietly to somebody, and the teacher said, "Mr. Baltazar, what is the problem?" I'm like, "Nothing, ma'am." You know, that was it.
Was your teacher Louis Gossett Jr.?
It should have been, right?
Mr.
She
Basso.
made me do push-ups. But hey,
We had we had a teacher in high school, geometry teacher, and he would talk like this, and his expressions and his hands would move this fast. He was his name was Murray Lotion, and all of his kids called him Slow Motion Lotion.
slow motion.
Lotion.
Yeah.
That's a good name to have. Lotion.
Please, class, please.
Mueller.
Yeah.
Mueller.
We called him No Hurry Murray Slow Motion Lotion. That's what we
Mhm.
called him.
when it was a couple months after and this is a funny story, because it starts off sad. When I was in the throes of mourning for my father, who died during my junior year, I was in Spanish class, and you're bummed, so you're spacing out, you're not paying attention, and the teachers were great, they really understood, but this one's Mrs. Friedman, and she wasn't being mean, but I was angry Yoko Chips. I was angry at the world, and
I think you were angry Yoko Chips your whole life, your entire life.
So I'm, she's like, John, why don't you take question 11? And I'm like, I spaced out. I'm like, I'm sorry, where are we? And everybody started laughing. And she's like, that's okay. Someone else can do it. I'm like, hey, I'll answer the question. Just tell me what number it was. And I said, I'll be happy to answer it. And she's like, no, that's okay. That's fine. And this kid leans over and goes to me, way to go, stupido, because it was Spanish class. And I turned around and went, F-O, alpha, asshole. And I didn't use the F-O. I used the real words. And my one Betty just cackled like, ha, ha, ha. And I got sent out of the class. And I'm like, okay. And the principal's just like, John, look, we're all on your side, man. And we know you're going through some tough times right now, but you can't do that. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. I know. I'm really sorry.
Well, I liked it.
So
I like that a lot.
There's a question for you and Scoot there.
There you go. What's Scoot's origin story in regards to the Yeah crew? Same for John. Does John remember the first meeting?
I remember.
I don't even know this story.
I remember when
first
we
part
met
of that question first, Scoot.
Oh yeah, for Scoot.
I met Art and Franco a couple times at Wizard World Chicago back when it was a big show, and I gave you guys some little sketch, like little stapled comics that I made, Super Kings, I think. And I told Art, and I had a mutual friend, Corey Barba, and Art told me he was a good man, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And then a year later, I saw you at the show again, and you were just starting All Yeah Comics, and you asked me if I wanted to do some cartooning for you guys, and that was it. I
remember you gave me your book. First time I met you, you gave me your book, The Super Kings, and I took it home and put them in my pile. And then eventually I look at the pile, or I give them to my wife to read, and I always ask her which books which are good. Get rid of the bad ones, keep the good ones. And so she said, I like this one, and it was Super Kings. It was right on top of the pile, and I read it and looked at it. It's like, yeah, this one is good. And then when you showed up the next year, you told me I'm the guy who gave you that, and I called you, Super Kings guy. I remember you, and that's how we met. And then I said, you should do some All Your Comics. We're doing this thing, and then that's it.
I did it. Yeah.
And then you sent me like 20 pages by the time I got home.
I did. And then I met Franco. The time Franco remembers me was at the 1C2E2 where I was signing at the All Yeah booth, and Franco came up to me and commented about how I hold my pencil like this.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, I asked you how many people told you were doing it wrong.
Yeah, everyone.
I remember you gave me your Super Kings books too, but I just threw them out. I didn't keep them like Art did.
I still have them, man.
Nice. I don't remember exactly when I met the guys, but when Art and Franco were still doing Patrick, and it was before they got the Tiny Titans gig, I would come to their table, and I believe my buddy Doug Klauba, I remember seeing Artie come in with like 30 Dunkin' Donuts and handing people, donuts and stuff early in the morning. And I was helping Doug at his table, and he's like, that's Art Balthazar. He's really nice. He's a good guy. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I saw that like on Sunday, they would always dress up. And I remember they used to dress up like the man in the yellow hat from Curious George, and they had matching outfits, or Jor-El and Superman, right? And Flash, as I remember.
Yeah. We got a lot of flack for the Jor-El and Superman.
Why? You had a great wig, man. You had like a great old lady, white wig for Jor-El, which is
I had an Elvis wig for Superman. It was real big, like a pompadour.
We told. Yep. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
We got everyone nervous at the DC booth when we walked up. Dan DiDio saw us and went, "Oh no, guys, no!
Well,
you can't sign like
before
that."
He saw us. We yelled out, "Oh yeah, man!" And he turned around, "Oh yeah, man!" And when he turned around, he looked at us, and his face dropped, and he's like,
went, "Oh no!" He goes, "Oh no, man! You're not signing at the DC booth dressed like that." I go, "Yes, we are. We're scheduled right now." And he's like, "Oh." But Johnny, when we first met, the way I met you is I went to FX Con and was staying with Brother Bear, And he told me, you have to sleep on the couch tonight, sir, because we're flying in a guy, John Suntress. He's going to get to bed. I'm like, who is this, John? Who is it?
How's that?
And he said,
I rated a bet over our already famous.
and then he says, yeah, he
How's
told
that
me. He goes, well, we're flying him in. I go, well, you guys flew me in too. And he goes, yeah, but you're my friend and you're going to sleep on the couch. So I said, if somehow your flight got delayed or something. And I kept saying, who is this guy? Where is he? And then he says, well, he's not here yet. It's 1 a.m. He said, I'm going to bed. I'm using the bed. He gets the Oprah couch.
Yeah,
it was like an Oprah couch, a couch she has on her show.
It was gigantic. It was a comfortable couch.
Yeah, it looked comfy.
I knew I was going to be spring breaking it in terms of 8 guys in a room. It was okay.
Then when I woke up, that's when I met you because you were on the couch. Are you Johnny? Are you John Suntress? And that's how we met.
That's true. And that was those 2 years at FXCon. Those were great. They were a lot of fun. That's when I got to know both of you guys. Because I remember probably the second year when Darwin was down there too, right? Wasn't that the second year, I think?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And Azzarello was down there 1 year, and Hickman and Jim McCann when he was still at Marvel. That's when we hung out at the bar. Here's a Star Trek story. We hung out at the bar with Jonathan Frakes, and he was telling us about in the 70s, he worked for Marvel as a live when you'd go to like a store opening and Spider-Man would be there and other Marvel heroes. He would play Captain America. Yeah, like exactly like Skokie Spidey. But he was telling us one time for a Blood, Sweat, and Tears concert at Madison Square Garden. You know how bands will have like a contract about what they should have backstage.
Yeah.
And it was in their demands that they would have 2 Marvel heroes doing their thing. So it was really hot out, and he was wearing his mask, and they were all sweating really bad because it was hot out, and the band felt bad. And they're like, you guys can take your masks off. Spider-Man would not break character, and he was drinking beer while he had the mask out, sucking it through the mask. Yeah. Like with bottles. Yeah, sucking it through the – isn't that crazy? We were all dying. We were all cracking up.
That's awesome.
That's one of my favorite things about going to the All Yeah parties and the All Yeah signings when Skoke comes dressed as Spider-Man and he stays in character and you can ask him anything. You say a fire truck goes by and we're like, Spidey. He's like, sorry guys, Fantastic Four got it today.
Yeah. I like when that little kid was asking you, where do you live? And you said, I live with my Aunt May.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
I live with my Aunt May in Queens.
Yeah.
I'm here on vacation, just hanging out. They asked me about my web shooters, and I have to say, well, today's my day off. I don't take my web shooters with me when I'm not fighting bad guys, so that's why I don't have them. And they asked me, well, can you climb on the walls? And I say, well, for liability reasons, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, insurance. We cover people slipping and falling, but not falling off of the ceiling.
For those of you out there,
Yeah.
For those of you out there commenting, I posted instructions further up in the comments feed if you want to learn how to put your face up here, because we can't put faces up unless you give permission. But here's one that how to put their face up and ask this question.
Please show us a new Jeff Goldblum gift.
I can do that because the last podcast, I must admit, I did not show everything that I had.
Wow.
So I'll do it right now. I'm going to reveal one additional Jeff Goldblum item. I'm going to grab it. I'll be right back.
I need to see it.
I'll be right back.
I'm
It's bigger than a bread box.
He used Scoot's quote right there. I'll be right back.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
hey,
man.
I was just thinking, I've stayed at everyone's apartment on this thing except for Skoke's.
Oh, it's not too late.
But
We'll
I've
go over
stayed
there
on
now.
Johnny's boots on, and that's where I found the glove.
That's true. He's got something.
It's very true.
Did you listen to the last podcast where Johnny only had 3 gloves?
Yeah, I saw the 4th one when I was there 4 years ago.
All true.
It hurts. I gotta go. It hurts. I'm only 11.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it hurts.
Oh, man.
Look at that.
Who drew it?
That's a great question. I wish I knew the artist,
Jeff Goldblum drew it.
but I would need to take it out of the frame to look. But this was a gift from my brother. Again, this was a Christmas gift. It says all that glitters is Goldblum.
Oh,
And,
that was beautiful.
It came framed like this too. I opened this package, and it was this nice framed Jeff Goldblum art. So this I just took off the wall in my apartment. So this is definitely hanging up for all to see, and I love it.
You realize that the next time you show up at a show, people are going to start giving you Jeff Goldblum
Yeah.
item.
Oh, I hope so.
We should say give Jeff Goldblum things when you see him.
It's been my plan all along.
Just like someone gave me a Jamie Farr MASH figure one time at a Comic-Con,
Hey,
Did they really?
Really?
and it was right there.
dress sold separately.
That's cool.
What, are you sure that might have been
Three
me?
fingers.
It
What are
was you.
doing?
That's what I'm pointing.
What is your problem?
Yeah.
Pointing.
Like it's cool for you, but for us, it's giant hand.
I'm
He's
pointing to
pointing,
Stoke.
he's pointing to me.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it.
you look like Dr. Zayas when you do it.
Good Lord. Instead, I will be Junior Birdman. Welcome to the Justice League.
I like that.
Do we have any business today?
I like that. That's something I wouldn't think I would heard all day. You look like Dr. Zayas when you do it.
No, man. Phase 1 is going well, human. The pandemic is spreading. Soon they will be mute.
Speaking of
That's true.
pandemic, I have
Dr.
a,
Zayas. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
have a
Sorry.
special request from some of my fellow podcasters to tell a story about when I was in college.
Yeah.
And,
You need to tell
I
this
think
one.
I told. I don't know if I told before. I told Franco and
You
Skoke.
Yeah, you told us in Chicago, and we begged you. We said you have to tell this on the next
Yeah.
podcast.
This is a true story. All of it's true. During that summer, before I went back to college, I broke my tailbone. I broke it. I crashed on a bike, and like when you get on a bike, and when you're a kid, you put your foot on a pedal, and then you flip over the bike and land, and you land, and you pedal away, and you could cycle, and you're all skillful and stuff. Well, I used to do it all the time, but this particular day, I walked through the grass, and it just rained all night. The grass was very wet. So when I put my foot on a pedal and took off and threw my leg around, my feet were wet, and I slammed and broke my tailbone on the seat. So I was like this. Here's what it looked like. Boom! So I got my seat got very friendly with me, but it broke.
How friendly did it get?
So far, it broke my coccyx. So my last bone.
Say it like
on-
John Travolta, please.
My
Yeah,
God,
yeah. Wait,
Thank you.
my
Broke my
coccyx. Yeah.
coccyx.
I broke my coccyx.
Thank
So
you.
my coccyx, people's looks like this, all right? But my last bone is like twisted and bent this way. So it's like a fishing hook. So it's like that still to this day.
Twisted
And
coccyx.
so I can't sit very long on uncomfortable chairs. So anyway, at that time, I was on medication. I had painkillers every morning.
Wow.
Yeah, I was high all the time. So I would, in the morning, I'd take one because I'm suffering. I got to go to school, get on a bus. And so I don't know why I'm echoing. Let me see. Let me take care of this. But I would go to school and I would go to school and to go to my writing class, go to my art classes and all these things. But I didn't notice anything because everything's happening in my head. So at the end of the semester, the teacher had, we had one-on-one with the teachers. And I'm trying to get rid of echo. I'm sorry, guys. And we had one-on-one with the teachers at the end of the semester. And she said, you know, you go in there and analyze your grade. She goes, oh, you're going to get an A or a B or so. But she said, were you on any prescription drug medication throughout the semester? And I said, yes, I was. And she goes, oh, that explains a lot. And I said, well, why? What are you talking about? She said, because we couldn't start the class until you told us the latest news about cactuses. We had to talk about cactuses 15 minutes before every class. And so we were talking about, I would just have a story about a cactus. Cactuses. We talk about cactuses for 15 minutes. But then I thought about it. And there was one time I went in class. I'm going to do like this because I'm hearing echoes. So I went to class one time And I sat next to class. This is a true story. I don't mean to offend anybody who's quite large, but this is what happened. So I went to class and I sat next to this girl in class. She became a friend of mine that semester. But I sat next to her and looked at her and says, you know what? I bet you my coat, I bet you I could wear your coat. I bet your coat fits. I bet your shoes fit me. And she went, what? And so first we took our shoes off and we traded shoes. And then I said, I bet your coat fits me. So we traded coats. And I said, I bet your shirts fit me. And so we traded our clothes before the teacher got there. So when the teacher walked in the room, I was wearing all of her clothes and she was wearing all of my clothes. And it was winter, so we had multiple layers. But I had I was wearing all her clothes. I had a girl's coat, a girl's sweater, and then she had all my man stuff on, and we had different shoes. And we did the whole class like that. We we sat in class. It was fiction writing class, so we sat there the whole time with our stuff. And then at the end, we went back and fixed it. But I think we actually went to lunch after the class. So that was a little bit something. I told those guys in C32. But that was pretty cool. That was like the best semester I've ever had because I don't remember it quite as everyone else does. But I'm really curious of what I said about cactuses. That would have been interesting.
You were the cacti guy.
The cacti guy. And she said she would just give me the floor for like 15 minutes and I would talk. And then we done? Like, okay, I'm finished. Then we'd start the class.
And you have no idea what you would talk about with cactuses.
No, she said we couldn't start the class until you talked about cactuses. Till you were finished talking about cactuses. And then that girl, I remember her. I forget her name, but I just remember all that. And I just remember the shoes fit really good. We switched shoes. We did everything but our pants and our last layer of clothing. But we did. It was pretty cool. I told my wife I think Johnny's sleeping.
No.
Wake up, Johnny!
No, I'm just meditating, please.
Okay. I know that when I tell my long stories, that, I know I have the possibility that you're going to pass out. The last time I told that wrestling story, I'm thinking in my head, why am I talking for so long? No one's interrupting me. And then I look and you're passed out.
Grandpa's asleep.
Yeah, he falls over. And that was at the 2-hour, 20-minute mark. So I get it. It's 2 hours.
You'll forgive me. It's not you, man. Honestly,
All right, good.
because I'm doing all these overnight shifts and stuff.
Oh,
I woke up this morning 4 a.m. and I haven't been asleep since. So yeah, I could easily.
Oh wow, you've been up, man. I went to bed at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, yeah, no, I've been having like late afternoon naps or early evening naps.
So you're like the vampire.
Johnny, we got this.
You're like vampire dad hours. You're like the dad of the vampire. You're watching all the other vampires stay up all night. Make sure they get home in time. That's what you're doing.
Wow.
Two Sheds. Chris Erickson says, Scoot, what did you do with the lady's arms and head? What did you do with that lady's arms and head?
Don't worry about that.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. Yeah. I think that's an inside joke.
Exactly.
Well, that's good because we're quarantined. We're inside.
Hey,
look at that.
As you can see.
Don't worry about that. I like that.
That's a good answer.
I'm having a good time.
Way to bring it to a screeching halt, Two Sheds. Attaboy.
Well, what is that? Ladies' arms and heads.
You woke up Johnny. Now he's angry again.
I got to tell another story. It takes
if you stump the panel with a question, I think it speaks for itself. Thank you.
I think
the best of the business.
I think my cactus was sitting in my head for a while. And when we created Grimace Island, there was a cactus character. There was cactus and cacti. But look at that. Oh, yeah, comics. But when I drew cactus, I kind of based them off the rock. And I drew the rock and I kept drawing the rock. And it's like, I like this rock guy. And it was even when he was real popular, like 98, 97, whatever. And I kept drawing him and said, one day I want to do like what Hanna-Barbera does, where they get Yogi Berra is now Yogi Bear and Ralph Cramden is Flintstone. So I wanted to do that. And Dasily Dog is not Dasily. Doggy Daddy is cha-cha-cha, that guy.
Jimmy
Chris
Durant.
Erickson says, "You're welcome. Thank you."
Hmm.
I like Touche. Good man. He's got the best beard I've ever seen. I think. Touche.
It's thick. It's a
It's real
thick.
Who has the
thick.
worst beard
It's real
you've ever
thick.
seen?
Nice. The worst beard?
Squatch?
Squatch's beard
If
is good. I like it too.
If you look at Chris Erickson, he's got hair like on his face and a beard, but if you add the eyebrows, his beard covers most of his head. If you look at it
There's
that way.
definitely a percentage of hair growth on the face. Yes. You know that you're doing good when there's a percentage.
Well, he's got a little squatch in him, if you'll pardon the expression.
Mm-hmm.
There's
I
some more
remember when-
Goldblum.
I
There's some
remember
more
years
Goldblum.
ago. Why does Art look like he's famous? Blind jazz musician.
Exactly. Felonious art.
I might be, you know.
Yes.
You see,
I wanted to draw tonight, but the moment I open up my drawings, I'm like, I don't want to do this tonight. Sometimes you need a day off. I've been working since before the quarantine. I don't know
We
what
should
that
play it
last
up
comment
and
was.
do, FM Jazz DJ interview. All right, in the studio with us right now, a great bass player that joined us right from Blue Chicago. It's Art Baltazar. How's it hanging, Artie?
It's doing very well, John. I'm trying to stay relevant in today's climate. And how will Scoop be able to pretend he's not the one making noise when
oh,
he's on camera?
Oh, exactly.
You can't do it now. There's no
Like the
escape.
7-Eleven security cam. We can see every move you make there, kid. Put your hands out of your pockets.
I had a bag of chips up here, but I ate them before the call because it took so long to get started because Johnny was late.
That's good to see.
Yeah, Johnny couldn't get on.
Ryoka chips.
The rest of
He's
us
on
didn't
now,
have
though.
a problem.
Yeah, I had
We're doing
them.
all right now. We got good framing going on to it.
I have issues with my iPhone, as we learned from our last broadcast. Hey, it's locked. Unlock your iPhone.
He's sleeping. Rose really liked that part, and she goes, "Did he drop his phone or did he fall over?" And I said,
Did he
"I
keeled
think
over.
both.
Elizabeth.
both.
I think he's dead.
I think both. Yeah.
Once again, be live, ladies and gentlemen. The way not to stream.
I like streaming. You guys been watching my famous cartoonist draws things streaming?
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool because I don't know. I feel like I'm talking throughout this whole time, but I'm gonna keep going. But I wake up and have my coffee, but now that I'm vampire houring, I'm like waking up at 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 4 or 5. But that's how I start my day, with that live stream of drawing, and it's kind of cool because I got a bunch of guys drawing with me, and even though like you could see like there's 18 people watching or 9 people watching, even if there's one guy, I'm real happy because afterwards I tell people, send me your stuff, and they'll send me their drawings, what they worked on while I were live streaming with me.
Oh, can I plug a stream I'm going to do on Tuesday?
Yes.
I'm going to thank you. I'm doing a Star Trek conversation with J.K. Woodward, who's been drawing a lot of great IDW podcasts, comic books, and Cully Hamner, and John Lehman from Chew, and Chicago artist Scott Larson, and David Gallagher from High Moon.
Oh,
So,
cool.
And I've got people who like new Star Trek and don't like new Star Trek. So it'll be a fair conversation. And also we'll talk about like cool things. Like Franco sent me an article yesterday that they're planning a big TV crossover of all the different shows, the current shows. I think that's a good idea.
Are they really?
Yeah. Now it's in development because we're all on lockdown, but they floated the idea that, hey, we're going to make a show that's going to have cast members because they obviously see the success of the CW and stuff.
Right.
So now someone
That's
asked to
kinda
see a
cool.
hole in my ceiling. Here, I'll try and tilt the camera and see if you guys can see it.
Yeah.
There they are. Those are
Nice.
speakers. Yeah,
Nice.
you can see them right above the floodlights. Yeah, those are speakers. The like kind of an old fashioned stereo system, but
Mhm.
it doesn't work well. So we got the speakers. They're stuck there in the ceiling.
That's a
And,
nice
you know,
hole.
Those
Yeah,
are good
but
holes. Some
They're
good
not real holes. But I guess. But yeah, like I said, some of them are. They would be floodlights, but I took out the bulbs because when I sleep, it would be like a bright light in my face. So
Did I tell you guys when I met LeVar Burton? I
Yes.
had lunch with him.
yes,
Did I say
Yeah, I
that
was
on
there.
the pod?
I was there.
yes,
Oh, you were there? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
you did. You did.
All right, cool.
Reading Rainbow, absolutely.
Yeah, and
You
ended
can
up
tell it
saying-
again
Yeah, by all
So-
means.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh,
because
okay.
it's a good one. It's worth
Yeah.
it.
I was with Squatchy. Me, Scoot and Squatchy were with
Yeah,
me.
we were in there. Yep.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, it was Cincinnati. Yeah, I did say it. But they make chili for that guy because he's a vegetarian. So they make vegetarian chili, especially for LeVar Burton, because that's what he enjoys. And so I wanted to try it because it's the LeVar Burton special vegetarian chili. So I said, I want some too. And he was eating lunch, and we all sat around him, but he has people around him. And I found out too, going to all these conventions, well, especially if you get invited to the green room and the celebrity walks in, they always have a handsome handler, someone who looks great. And I always say, I want one of those guys, and hang out with me. Just a handsome dude, just hanging out. So I got Scoot and Squatchy.
Right here, sir.
Yeah, I brought Scoot with me. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you? You told him about Harold's Chicken. That's what I remember.
Yeah, I was talking about Harold. Yeah, I asked him if he ever been to
For the
Chicago.
vegetarian? Nice.
Yeah, and I said, you ever been to Chicago? You got to go to Harold's Chicken. But I ended up telling him that he said that this new show would Picard, Jean-Luc, the guy, I forgot his name, Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
He told them to all start getting in TV show shape because they're gonna probably call them to do cameos and appearances on the show. So he told us that before the world knew, and I thought it was pretty cool. And then I made jokes about, so you're gonna call this Patrick Stewart calling Hugh Jackman? He's like, what? He looks at me. I say, because he's got to be his first mate, number one, Hugh Jackman. And then they're gonna call in Colossus to play Data. He's like, what? And I said, yeah, and then Halle Berry to play Uhura. And he went, what? And I said, yeah, because that's the Star Trek guy, don't they? And he's like, what? And then somebody says, he's replacing X-Men, all the X-Men with Star Trek. And he started laughing. He laughed crazy, like, he started laughing. And then he looked up at me and says, who are you? Why are you here with us? Why are you eating with us? And I gave him my card. I said, of course, famous cartoonist Art Baltazar. I was invited. I'm a special guest. And he went, And I gave him my card, and he put it in his pocket, and he goes, I might have to use this one day. I said, I recommend you do. Come to Chicago, take it to Harold's. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I had him laugh at that.
I like famous drunk Artie. I like that.
Not even
Yeah.
the Wonder Bread is vegetarian at Harold's,
No,
There's no
nothing.
such thing. There's no vegetables at Harold's.
It's got lemon pepper seasoning on it.
And that's
When
as
I went
close
with
you're gonna
Art,
get.
when I went with Art and Franco that one time, Art asked for a special kind of like no sugar drink, and they're like, we don't have that, and they just gave him whatever they had.
Oh, but he got real excited. He goes, "Oh, you're Harold's. Of course you don't."
This
Yeah, he's
is
like,
so
that's so
have that."
Harold.
This is so Harold's. They don't have diet soda. How
Yeah,
about
that's what
water?
it was.
We don't have water. They're like, oh,
They
cool.
don't have water.
How about give me that red pop? It was said red pop on there.
Exactly. It's not even a flavor. It's red pop.
Red pop. And
What
it wasn't
flavor is that?
even red. It was orange. Yeah.
Look at that Jeff Goldblum pillow. Or is that a bag of chips?
I wish it was a bag of chips.
Is that
This is
Goldblum?
this is. I showed this on the
Yeah.
pod last
I like
time. Yeah, somebody mentioned I couldn't see the name, but that Jeff Goldblum's eyes were staring right into.
If you
Dora
stroke
eyes.
it the other way, does it turn into a T-Rex? Does it show a T-Rex?
Let's find out. Oh,
Oh, look at that.
Oh no!
What are you
No.
doing?
Bleeding.
Here in his face.
Oh,
Face is broken.
Face
Now
off.
it's a mask of
Oh,
blood.
it hurts.
Isn't that weird? I wonder
That's
why
when the
they're
like a
aliens
mood.
got him in Independence Day.
It's like a
like
mood
magic.
pillow.
doing a magic trick.
Ah,
You
yes.
should have put George Clooney on the other side when you do that. You know?
He's stroking his Jeff Goldblum pillow.
I was. Good thing this isn't on camera.
That's right. Yeah.
Put
Couldn't
him
come
right
up with the
back
joke.
here. Now you stay there, Jeff.
Jeff is awesome. Yeah.
You know,
Gigantic.
I had a great time showing everybody my Jeff Goldblum shower curtain last time on the pod. I found a few other items around the apartment that I have that perhaps you guys might enjoy seeing.
I'm scared, but yes.
Yeah. I want to see them.
You want to see them?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll start with this one. This is this was on the fridge. I took it down temporarily. This is a Fantasy Island magnet. Do you realize
That's
Yeah.
a magnet?
it's a
Yeah.
How
magnet?
big is that?
You can put that. You can hang your report card up with
My
this.
fantasy that I hang on your refrigerator, perhaps adhering a calendar or a child's art.
Is your refrigerator Corinthian leather? Is it made out of Corinthian leather?
Corinthian leather.
Plus, I am holding up a recipe on this refrigerator door.
Thank you, Tattoo. Also on the fridge, we have this nice Screech Saved by the Bell magnet.
Screech.
Oh,
Dustin Diamond.
This was a gift. A friend of mine gave this to me.
Isn't he in
Pretty good.
jail?
I love that.
He's in prison. My friend or Screech?
Screech.
Both.
Yeah, probably both.
Screech
I'd
was
like to
in
be at the
porn.
sweatshop that makes these magnets. We got Urkel, we got Mr. Workin' Tattoo, and we got Screech. Who are the other? Go on. There's got to be more.
We have there's another magnet. This is the
Jamie Farr.
current ambassador to North Korea, Dennis Rodman.
Oh,
course.
I like that.
Oh, there you go.
I like that
Classic,
one.
Your Chicago Bulls.
The worm.
I'll have to get my refrigerator magnets that I have of a very famous cartoonist, but not Artie, unfortunately. But a friend of the podcast when he was alive.
Oh,
a
man.
He's a dead famous cartoon.
Yeah, but he's a good man. And
Is it
actually,
Charles Schultz?
we hung out with him at the FX Con. That's a big hint.
Pour one out.
I don't know.
That good
who we're
man.
talking about.
I know who he is.
I'll get those while you're showing your stuff there, sir.
You should. I know who it is, but I won't spoil
Who's
it.
that?
Man, why does he
Oh,
hate us?
nice.
It's Chewbacca to Wubaka.
This is a Chewbacca pipe. I was told.
Hey, awesome. Wow.
Look at the face on it, though. What's going on there? I think I just broke it.
It's a Squatch. It's a Squatch one.
One of our callers says the
Good.
Screech magnet will help with any diet. That's true. It scares you when you try to open a fridge.
Take me to the fridge.
Well,
My
speaking
kids
of
told me
the fridge,
not to dab anymore.
It's not cool anymore.
Sorry.
Why did
No,
Johnny
man.
hate us? He left. Why does he hate
Robert
us?
Thompson says they're all gifts. No sane man would buy these things for themselves. That's true.
exactly.
We give them all the skoke.
This is a record. This is Walter Payton
I
doing
know
it right.
Yeah, I know that.
Is this a song? Does he sing this? I don't even know.
I think he does.
This is from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
There's a record in there.
Kentucky Fried Chicken put this fine item out there. for
That's
the world.
beautiful, Skoke.
Someday I hope to get a record player and play this.
Is
so I
it
can
is it
really
one of
sound
those
like-
floppy ones? You ever get those ones
Yeah.
in books where it's all like floppy, like a piece of paper, and you had to put it on the record player and play it?
Floppy
Mhm.
pants.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's real
Yeah.
floppy.
It's
Here's another gift. The Farting Animals coloring book. How did they know? How did they know?
Do
This
all
is my
animals
kinda-
do that? I wonder if that proves that in there. Is this picture of Johnny's fart in there?
No. That's definitely a fox, though.
Is Johnny's picture in there? No.
Johnny's wandering around like a Squatch back there.
Looking for that glove.
What's he doing back there?
He
went
forgot
looking
we were
for the
potting.
glove.
He's looking for his glove. In honor of Johnny, I do have a glove. Here's a glove. My Spider-Man glove.
He's just wandering around back there.
Okay.
Here he is.
I guess when Snow goes to get stuff, nobody says anything. But how abnormal. Bye, that's so odd. What could he possibly be doing? And jobs. All of you.
Oh, be careful, Johnny. Come on, man.
Too late.
Be careful.
No, I brought my no, please continue.
Our listener
I'll
says,
finish when
I
you're finished.
I
What is it?
just thought I'd share my 4-year-old daughter and I are watching them. She's fascinated with knowing all your names.
Sorry,
Well,
sorry
thank
about
you.
the outburst there, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry about the
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca.
I like it.
Sorry about the Chewbacca.
What did
part.
you have in your hand there, Skoke?
This is Dumb and Dumber, the novelization.
because there were so many unanswered questions from the movie.
It's really thin. And sadly, this is the abridged version. It doesn't include everything in here.
Why would it be? Why wouldn't it be?
I like
there's
Robert
a third-
Thompson's comment.
I don't.
Is this your apartment, or do you live at a Spencer's Gifts?
It's true.
I think a little bit of both.
That's a fine question. You would think, right?
Why not both?
Well, they omitted the part where Jim Carrey lights his gas on fire. It's not in the book.
It's the
Ridiculous.
abridged,
One of the highlights
the
of the
Reader's
movie.
Digest version of Dumb and Dumber. They used to do that. All the
Yeah.
time. Reader's Digest would have condensed books. Books are too long. We cut out half the story for you.
The search for angry Yoko chips.
Are you done? Is there more?
Yeah, there's more.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's
This is
gigantic.
the final item.
I don't know.
Check this
There
out.
you go.
Oh, that's.
I remember
beautiful.
that fateful day
Oh,
when
there it is.
I interviewed
I
Spider-Man.
got it signed.
By your
Oh, I
crotch.
did sign it. Hilarious. I forgot I signed it. Wow. I'm going to need that when the word balloon book is ready. Because I don't think the original photographer is speaking to me anymore.
Oh, what you doing,
Gee,
Johnny?
what are the odds?
What are you gonna do?
What you do to that guy, Johnny, or that woman? I don't know. Ooh,
Ooh,
it's interesting.
what's that?
Sorry, I lied. There was one more thing.
I lied. Remember when I told you that was the last one? I lied. Come
This is
on.
a drawing. This is a drawing done by Scoot.
Yeah, I remember that.
Doing Jamie Farr from Certain Doom, and he's holding
At an
a,
All Yeah
pack
Comics
of hot dog.
party.
There's
Yeah.
a pack of hot dog right there.
That's awesome.
Look at his nose.
Yeah,
I love
thank you
that you
again,
have-
Scoot, for that. That was hanging in my kitchen. I just took it off the wall.
Wow.
I love you having
That's,
things
that's not
framed.
one of the magnets on your fridge.
No,
I have magnets for my fridge.
it would be the
Oh,
fridge.
I like that.
First, we got the
And
bat signal. And then a couple Man of Steel ones. There's Neil before Zod.
I am the Hulk. Yeah,
I don't know how blurry that is.
I like that.
Pretty blurry.
Man of Steel.
Nice.
That's him.
When he was handcuffed.
Yeah.
Yes. And then another Batman.
I like
Ooh.
that one.
That's a nice
Yeah,
one.
Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
You are correct.
Mhm.
And then our dear departed friend, Darwin Cook, a series of magnets that I adore.
Oh, Darwin.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Let's toast to Darwin.
Indeed. Pour one out for him.
Pour one out for Darwin.
And then the Justice League.
Mm. Yeah, another Darwin.
I like the jug. The jug came back up.
Yeah.
And here's Superman saving a boy, a young man.
Young
Oh,
boy.
that's cool. That's from the All Star, or is that Superman of Four Seasons? What's it called?
I think it's from that. Remember that he had that month with all the variant covers where he did a ton of amazing.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
I'm pretty sure they're all from that. And then finally, when the TV show came out,
Oh,
I got
yeah.
this, the Shield emblem, Agent Coulson.
Yeah.
Agent Coulson, who replaced me in the animated Spider-Man series as Peter Parker's principal.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Were you in the
Well,
series?
this is like bad news, man. They gave your gig to Clark Gregg. And I'm like, I didn't expect to actually like make it to the cartoons, even though I was in the ultimate
You're in the Ultimate
comic book.
Universe.
Yep.
Principal Suntress.
That
It's
would have been good.
Even Miles
They don't even
Morales.
have an Ultimate Universe
I
anymore,
even,
do they?
I was gonna say, I even encountered Miles Morales before I was no longer in the comics.
That's right. You were
Chris Samney drew me. Chris
Oh, that's
Samney
right.
drew me. Sarah Pacelli. Damn it! Now I'm Stuart Immonen and one more, and I can't
Bagley.
remember who.
Did Bagley draw you?
Bagley did draw me, and then I forgot about Bagley. But then, oh god, another one of the Ultimate Spider-Man artists, and I can't remember his name right now. And he's a European artist. European.
Yeah, but what is he in the kitchen?
That's right. He's in the kitchen. He's a
But
kitchen
no, it was cool.
I remember that. That was cool.
Yeah, I
I
can't.
read all of those. I read every Ultimate Spider-Man book.
Oh, cool!
And when it ended, I was, I think that's when I stopped reading comics.
Wow.
I read a few things. The last thing I read from DC was Brightest Day. The last thing I read from Marvel was when the Skrulls took over. I haven't
Secret
read
Invasion.
stuff in a while. Yeah,
Yeah, come on, Secret Invasion. You're a Skrull.
yeah.
I
I
knew
read
it.
stuff random.
Come on now.
Yeah,
You're right. Skoke, I didn't realize. You're right. Arnold was telling everyone in Mayberry who moved incredibly slow to move. Come on, move.
Move it, MP.
Oh, what? Quit pushing me, Arnold.
Oh, and
Come on, move that fat ass at me. Good Lord.
What are you, a Sunday driver?
Hurry up, make those pies, Aunt B.
Exactly. The county fair is 2 days away. Make those pies.
people want
I'll
them.
make pickles. They're terrible, Aunt B.
Floyd, hurry up, cut my hair.
I'm moving as fast as I can, Arnold. Ooh, get your shaky hands away from me, Floyd.
He's gonna snip off his ear, that guy.
Well, I don't know, Arnold. It sounds like awfully risky business. Shut up, Howard. Howard Sprague, you live with your mother.
I would want to know what Arnold is like in other shows. Like, what would he be as the captain of the Love Boat? You know?
Attention, all passengers. Come down to the Lido deck. Charo is about to do coochie to us.
Yeah, but what if Ewan McGregor was one of those passengers talking to Arnold as the captain? You know,
I like the coochie coo. I like Charo.
Hi there, Ewan. Maybe you would like to have a date with our lovely purser, Gopher.
I'd like that very much, Captain Stubing. Yes. Kathleen.
We need another celebrity for the hookup on with Ewan McGregor. It'd be like him and Lonnie
Where's
Anderson or
Isaac?
something.
yeah, but what if he
I'd
met
like a drink, please.
what if Isaac had the night off and you got a young Bill Cosby from the 1990s to serve bar? What? Like if I want to say I want to have a drink from Cosby, what would he say? I wonder.
Hello, friend. Would you like to have something to drink?
You see.
I would stay far away from that bar. I would turn
Yeah.
around.
I don't-
would walk.
I got to tell you, Gopher, I don't trust this replacement bartender that we got for Isaac on this cruise.
Go
Hey, it's
for
gonna be fine. Come on over. Hey, Captain, hey.
After one of
been to prison.
After one of Dr. Huxtable's cocktails, I shouldn't be behind the wheel. What's that iceberg doing
true.
over there?
What's that, Gopher?
That's not a
I
nice
love
burger,
you,
that's
Dr.
Theo.
Huxtable.
One
Oh,
coochie
no, we're
coochie,
gonna crash.
two coochie coochies.
Yes. Anakin, coochie coo.
Kathleen!
Kathleen.
Kathleen Turner!
Did you sing Charo
Oh,
washing her
Obi-Wan.
hands to 20 coochie coochies? That was pretty cool.
She's
Hey,
the
Gwen
most-
is here. Hello, Gwen.
Ever do his Nick Offerman impression on the pod? Do you have a Nick Offerman impression, Skoke?
I do a little bit.
Good.
Sometimes I do impressions, and after I'm done doing the impression, the person looks at me and goes, and I have to say, well, I just did it. That was it. That was the impression. That was my Nick Offerman, by the way.
That was,
I like
good.
that.
That
I
was
just
fine.
did.
I was laughing right away. Absolutely.
Thank you. Yes, I did mention on a
Yes.
past pod that I met Nick in person, and he asked me what impressions I do, and right away I was like, "Well, I do a Nick Offerman, but I can't do it in front of him. I can't do that."
Yeah.
So I didn't. I didn't do any
Oh.
impressions at all. I said, "Well, I used to do a really good Bill Cosby, but I don't do that one anymore." And he laughed. He thought it was funny. Everyone who was around on the set, they thought it was humorous, but I never actually did any impressions. But that was my Nick Offerman.
In front of him. Yeah, you should have done his in front of him. You should have.
Yeah, it was a
I
good
should
one.
have.
He
It
would
was a
have
good
liked
one.
it.
It was a missed opportunity, but what are you going to do? I just
Does he-
dropped a joke and I left.
He's obviously less intense, I would assume, in person, or is that Nick Offerman 24/7, that kind of slow, laconic, intense voice?
Oh yeah, no, that's just him. Like that's
Okay.
That's his delivery.
That's his demeanor.
Everything,
Okay.
everything. It's really quiet.
I like when he did
Really?
those Slink commercials, and he's like, "Jim, bring your mom." I like that.
He's a humorous fellow.
Oh, he's great.
There was a
Married
time
to an equally funny person, Megan Mullany
Yeah.
from
And-
Will and Grace. Hi, honey.
D. Brad.
yeah,
as
oh yeah,
Scope.
and they have a podcast.
Scope did a Jeff Goldblum impression of Jeff Goldblum. I remember. I saw that. He got a little bit of footage.
That,
would that go?
I Like Pink group. It was a video of Jeff Goldblum and me. I went to see a concert. Or his jazz band was playing in Chicago. I went to see him. He was walking around the room saying hello to everybody before the show. And he walked by me, and I had my phone out. I was shooting video. And I said, hello, Jeff. And he goes, hello. And I said, pleasure to see you. And he goes, pleasure's mine entirely. And he moved on.
Do you know a great Jeff Goldblum 80s movie? John Landis directed it. It's called Into the Night. And it's,
Yeah,
No.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
yep,
Mhm.
yep. Oh, and Bowie's in it, and one of the bad guys at the end of the movies. But yeah, it's terrific. If you haven't seen it, it's
It's one of my favorite movies. Yeah.
Me too. Honestly, one of the like a very cool, quirky 80s movie.
That was one of the movies that was on TV all the time.
Yes.
We always had an on TV box in our house because my
Well,
dad would make them. They were always in the house. We'd have on TV for 2 days, and then somebody would come and give him $50 and take our box, and he'd make a new one,
Nice.
or he would order a new one.
Was he? Was Jeff Goldblum in it, or was it Griffin Dunn?
It was
Well,
Jeff Goldblum.
that's a different movie, and that's the Martin Scorsese one called After Hours.
After Hours,
And
right?
that's a
okay.
terrific movie as well.
Right.
But I would say Into the Night is a good double feature, actually. So
Yeah.
if you only know one and not the other, do yourself a favor. While we're in lockdown, watch it. It's very
Yeah.
good.
Hurry up, watch it.
Come
It
on.
might be,
Come on, get the Shetland ponies. Netflix is starting.
it might be Michelle Pfeiffer's first movie. I'm going to go with that. It's probably her first
No,
movie.
I'm sorry,
I don't
sir.
think
That would
so.
be incorrect.
All right,
That would be
I
Grease
guess.
too, right?
Because Scarface was before that, and even maybe Grease 2 even. I'm gonna look up. I'm gonna hold type and find out when.
Yeah, hold
both those
type.
were.
So it might be one of. It's one of her. Definitely one of her early ones, of course.
Yes.
Yeah,
It says Franco, Artie, and Scoot. Strangest art requests.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know.
there's PG versions and there's rated R versions. So
Right.
I'll do
Yeah.
the PG version. Someone wanted me to draw Doctor Doom eating spaghetti, so I made him sucking a piece of noodle through that little hole he's got in his mask.
Grr.
That's
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of inappropriate ones that we get asked about, but I'm not gonna
There's
talk
lots of
about
them.
those because the 4-year-old's watching.
Yeah, and there's lots of them where we would get so frustrated, and then we'd ask them if you want me to draw them, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, I can't do that. So, but what happens now? Is like when people say, "Can you draw Yoda with a tennis racket playing tennis with the Green Lantern
Yeah.
Corps?" And I'll just say, "No,
No.
no."
The first movie that Michelle
Yeah.
Pfeiffer did was a very funny movie, The Hollywood Knights, with Robert Wool and Tony Danza,
Nice.
and the nanny's in it.
Yeah.
I like
So-
Lanny.
Is,
That was 5 years before Into the Night. She also was on Fantasy Island.
Was she really?
Yep.
That's cool.
And let's see here. Oh my God, she's in a horrible movie, Charlie Chan and the Curse of the Dragon Queen, where Peter Ustinov played Charlie Chan. Very, very
Wow.
inappropriate today.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yep. And
They
she
made
did,
a movie of Charlie Chan.
yep.
I didn't know that.
And she's in Grease 2, Grease,
Greed
Yeah.
too.
and Scarface. And then those were the two before Into the Night. And then that same year's Into the Night,
Gibson knew it.
she did Lady Hawk with Rutger Hauer and Matthew Broderick.
Lady Hawk. Yeah, I remember.
I like that movie.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's a really good one.
Right after Ferris Bueller. Yeah.
Rutger Hauer. I liked him in Lady Hawk, and then I saw another movie called I forget the name of it. Flesh and Blood, maybe Flesh and Bone.
Flesh and Bone. I think.
Yeah, where it's Jennifer Jason Leigh
Yep.
is in it, and they poison this well, and it was just it changed the whole outlook of him. And then I realized that he was in Blade Runner. So that was, there was a lot of stuff happening.
I like him in Hitcher. That's where I saw him for the first time.
I like him in
Hitcher.
Smallville as Morgan Edge.
Oh, that's right.
He was
in
good.
there.
He was good as Morgan Edge. Yeah.
He was in Batman too, right? Oh, you didn't get the memo? Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's in
That's right.
Batman Begins. That's
Batman
right.
Begins.
Grease. Exactly.
Grease.
That's good.
It's just this grease.
Guys, I gotta go. I don't think I'm gonna be right back, but I gotta tuck in the
All right, our best
Babies.
for the baby.
All
help
right.
Oh, yeah,
Kendall
man.
tuck in the babies.
Yeah,
Do
good luck,
stuff with
Kendall.
baby, sir.
Take it easy.
I'm proud of you,
All
Scoot.
right, man.
And boy, I'm glad
Yeah.
you're feeling about
Bye,
it.
Scoot.
Yeah, man.
Later.
Yeah,
Look,
man.
Johnny.
Love you.
Bye.
You're awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. You're making me proud.
Yeah, whatever. Dumbass.
Ooh,
Oh man.
it is
Oh,
getting
that's
more
awful.
of him. Yeah. I like
That's
Scoot. I
awful.
miss him.
I'm glad he's healthy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. We were scared.
Yeah.
Seriously, when he hit
Yeah.
104,
Right.
that's not good.
And he was like
Well,
that
he-
for like 2 weeks.
That's not extra
Yeah, he
credit.
had that for like a few days too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm glad he's alive. I like that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I pick on him, but he's a good man.
I prefer him alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we wouldn't have much interaction with him on the show if he was dead.
True.
I'll be
Well,
right
I
back.
still do.
Actually, I'm sure we could have had a disembodied voice and just collected all of his lines over the years, and nobody would notice that he was gone.
Right.
I'll be right back. Okay, Scoot.
You got to poke him with a stick. Look, somebody says Terror in Tiny Town. A Johnny
Shetland.
Pony. I don't know what that is.
Terror of
Tiny.
Tiny Town was a Western made with little people. It's
Oh.
a real like ridiculous cult movie where it was an
Yeah.
all small people cast.
Wow.
I'm the sheriff of this town, and that kind of thing.
Remember that
Yeah,
they
really?
did a
And
movie.
they rode Shetland ponies.
They did a movie similar with that, but with kids, with Scott Baio, and they were shooting pies at each other.
5 points for the name of the movie, please.
Bugsy?
Was
One
it
more
Bugsy?
word.
Bugsy
Bugsy
Malone.
Malone.
Bugsy Malone, very good.
We
Well
used to
done.
watch that. That was pretty good.
It's a
Saw
funny movie, and it's Paul Williams did the music, man.
Did he?
Yep.
Like Paul.
Yeah, I
Williams.
remember Bugsy Malone. That was fun. And the other one was Johnny Dangerously was kind of like
Nice.
sort of in the same
Michael
vein,
Keaton.
but with
Farging
adults.
Ice Holes.
My
Farging
father
Ice Holes.
did that to me once.
My,
What a
Just-
mouth.
my favorite part was when he calls the guard, God, come here. He uses 2 fingers. He says, come here.
I always remember the part where they're listening to the radio, the cop radio, but they're on the
On the,
on the
they're in
run.
the car.
We're chasing a
Yeah.
blue car, and they take the blue paint off the car, and then they say chasing a red car, and then they take that, and then they say we're chasing a car with flower pattern wallpaper. They're like, oh, they spotted us. I thought that was cool.
Bugsy Malone.
was,
There's a great BBC behind the scenes documentary on Bugsy Malone, and they talk to everybody as adults. So Jodie Foster's in there, and Scott Baio, and the girl who played the good girl, because Jodie Foster was the bad girl in the
Yeah.
movie. She was in the military as an adult and like a career military person. And the big fat Italian kid that was also on Fish, racist. He's in real estate. He stopped acting years ago. I'm in real estate. How do you doing? Hey, all right, great.
Mhm.
But it was seriously, it's a great documentary that used to be on YouTube. I bet it's still there.
I
I
like that.
recommend it.
I'm gonna check that out.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying.
BBC One, BBC Two, BBC. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
I'm telling you, it's good stuff. Seriously, do you guys ever like crawl down like YouTube rabbit holes where you see one
Ooh.
thing and then all of a sudden it's 3 hours later and you've watched
Yes.
like 20 videos?
I
don't
watch
have time for that.
I watch a video and then it just keeps going. I just let it play whatever. The only thing that bugs me is the ads, but
Sure.
I just get through them. They're only 30 seconds, so I'm drawn anyway. But I listen to I discover a lot of bands that way.
Sure.
I'm into Pomplamoose. Pomplamoose.
Yes, they're very good.
They're good, and I like these kids called Reina Del Cid. Is this girl and her girl partner. She plays a guitar with her, and these other guys and I forgot these other guys' names, but they're called the New Favorites. They're called.
Oh, wow.
But man, I just watch these kids play music, and I'm a big fan of talented kids playing cover songs. That's how they get you in there. But man, I just watch a lot of that stuff. YouTube is a great place.
Regarding Pomplamoose,
Yeah.
we owe a debt to Pomplamoose, and especially as The Crawl starts giving our Patreon
Yeah,
addresses because Jack from Pomplamoose co-created Patreon.
that's right. He does his scary. He also has Scary Pockets, another band.
Yes.
But I heard that he created Patreon.
Well, because they were like one of the early YouTube sensations. And back then, YouTube had a better cut for advertising for the individual YouTuber and them. And then all of a sudden, they changed their rules, and they would get like 100,000 views. And it's like, congratulations, you made $10 this month.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, thanks, great. So that's why he's like, hey, our content's worth more money than that. Let's take our viewers and listeners and everything else, cartooning and everything. And God, I mean, thank you, Jack Conte, for creating Patreon.
Oh, I didn't know his name. Yeah. And I've been watching him, and there's a commercial I see when I watch the TV that I could swear it's their song in the commercial, but I can't remember what it is because the girl's voice is so unique.
Yeah, Natalie Dawn.
Natalie. Yeah.
They did a Christmas commercial for a car dealer a few years ago, but yeah, they've gotten ad gigs and stuff. No, and I love that kind of success story, like Billie Eilish. Where they discover their audience online as opposed to on the radio. We're too busy playing your hits. We don't have time for these new stars.
Yeah, and YouTube is great for musicians. That's how I discovered Lake Street Dive too. You just see their videos, and then I end up going to iTunes and buying all their stuff. Sure, I have it, but their videos are more special than the recordings, I think, because you see them play live and stuff. But that Pomplamoose, that girl Natalie, she's real different when she's speaking normally, but when she sings, you can see she's in the zone. She just barely moves. She barely moves her mouth when she sings, but the voice comes out real cool.
And I just like their different arrangements for classic songs, but they do them in a different way.
Yeah, and they mashed the two songs together too.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, they're cool.
There's this music streaming service that I use called Soma, SOMA, and they have a ton of channels. And I always end up finding new pop bands, new to me, listening to their pop channels. And I always find new songs, and I'm throwing them on my MP3 player every time I find a new one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they're amazing.
I'm a big music guy. I sit there and just rock out all night. It's cool, man.
That was my intent getting into radio, was being like an FM rock DJ and program director. That was my initial ambition.
Well, you told me before that you had to take a test. You had to name a song in like a 3 second.
Yeah, that test. Yeah. There was a magazine called Goldmine that was a music industry magazine, and it catered to radio, and they were looking for people to write their oldies column. And I had to. They played 100 oldies, just snippets of songs, and I was on the phone and be like, "Okay, that's Jumping Jack Flash by the Stones. Okay, that's Silence is Golden by the Tremolos." A lot of one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
Red Rubber Ball by the Circle. Stuff like that. And my older cousin, he's 70 now, but at the time he was, probably 45 or something like that, or 40. And he's laughing because these are all songs from like when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
And he's like, I knew that one.
That's funny.
And he was he was sitting at the kitchen table with me cracking up as I'm taking the test. And I did well. I only missed 2 songs. And one was Silence is Golden by the Tremolos. And the other was, actually the one they were impressed with was, because they played some current songs too. And it was the Traveling Wilburys' first song, Handle with Care.
Nice.
Handle me with care.
That's
It's a good song.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But like a lot of people don't know what they think it's I'm so tired of being lonely or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They know the chorus or whatever. But yeah, they're like, oh, you even knew the title. I'm like, yeah.
You should have been on Name That Tune, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, I was almost on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh, really?
I made it through every phone category as they challenge you with questions, and they're like, if you were among the 10 fastest people who dialed in, we will call you in the next 30 minutes. And they never called, so I wasn't part of the 10.
Oh,
10 people faster. It was hard. It was tough.
I went to my wife's friend's backyard party one time, and we're sitting there and music's playing. There's food, we're chilling on a patio furniture. But every time a song came on, I would tell her, wife's friend's husband. Yeah, but he's an older guy. He's at least 20 years older than me. So every time a song came on, like it was My Girl would come on, I would say, My Girl, The Temptations, 1963, RCA Records, producer, and I would just say stuff. And then the next song would come on. Oh, that's Elvis Presley, Hound Dog, Aerostar Records, but they were sold to this. And I would do that all night. I would just make up stuff. And then finally he said, wow, you're really good. You really know your music. I said, yeah, watch the next song. And the next song will come on. Oh, that's an early song. That's Quincy Jones producer. I just go on. And then finally a song came on that he knew. and then I said, oh, that's the Four Tops. He goes, you're wrong. That's not the Four. And he goes, you were lying this all night. What?
Remember when I said I knew all those oldies? I lied.
I got a few of them right, I'm sure.
That's awesome.
The song and the artist.
No, I
So
understand.
he caught on to me. It didn't work after that. Our YouTube user says there's a great British documentary in search of Steve Ditko on YouTube. Ooh,
Yep. Jonathan Ross hosted
That's
it,
great.
and Neil Gaiman's in it, and Stan is in it.
Stan?
Because Jonathan Ross was the narrator and the interviewer of all these people. And they asked Stan about, Steve Ditko always said, it's not, you can't say that Stan co-created Spider-Man. All Stan had was an idea. Spider-Man wasn't realized until I drew him. And they asked Jonathan Ross is like, so, should Steve be considered I forget how he phrased it, but Stan said, well, I consider him a co-creator. And he's like, well, you said you consider him, but is he in fact, no matter who says it? Well, I don't know. Everybody's got their own opinion.
I think he's definitely a creator.
Of course.
He created the costume. But
Yeah.
then there's this leak. There's something that was revealed recently that the Ben Cooper costume, the Halloween costume, came out like years before.
Yes.
And there was, I don't know if they called him Spider-Man or the Spider-Man -Man. I don't know what they called him, or the Spider, but the costume was they loosely based it off Ben Cooper. But
Sure.
I'm sure that could be something you were inspired from. It
Well,
wasn't
and
an
also-
an exact homage or whatever.
But also prior to Ditko drawing Amazing Fantasy, didn't Kirby, wasn't it given to Kirby to draw first? And,
That's
and
right.
the feeling was he was too bulky and everything looking and
I think
too
you're
many
right.
muscles. Yeah.
I think Kirby might have been the one who created the suit.
And also,
I think so.
Simon and Kirby had a character called the Silver Scarab, and Joe Simon always claimed that that's where Stan got the idea for Spider-Man.
Wow.
So I don't know, whatever.
That's
It's like
cool.
the one that's interesting as far as who created him, and nobody can really say, was Barry Allen Flash, because
Right.
Robert Kanigher suggested a few things, and Infantino drew it, but Julie Schwartz suggested a few things. A lot of fathers in the room.
And that's what people said about He-Man in that Toys That Made Us show.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Right then. Yeah,
I love
That
that
reminds
show.
me, I gotta reach out to that guy and try and get him back on Word Balloon.
Oh, you had him, the creator of He-Man?
Yeah, and once again, my computer ate the interview. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
God.
you should get Marty
Seriously,
Abrams.
I die. You guys don't know. I mean, honestly, and I know it's happened to our pod a few times.
Yeah.
Honestly, I die 1,000 deaths every time that happens.
Oh, that's got to
Try
hurt
to
bad.
Get it record better. I can't figure out a good way to set up an external recorder and hook it up to my laptop so that I've got a separate like digital recorder going. I've got separate recorders, but I can't ever find the right volume to do it. I can't do it.
Can't do it.
Come on.
It's kind of like not being able to paste and copy from my text onto my laptop.
Come on.
Facebook
Oh.
user, yes, it was given to Kirby first. Exactly.
Yeah.
We know our
Yeah.
trivia.
Because there's
I
a
should
Kirby.
mention Jimmy Dunn wants to do a trivia show where we're all. He'll be the quiz master and we'll all play.
Oh, cool.
And I'm
We
for
should
that.
do it.
That's okay.
Jimmy
maybe the
Jimmy
next
Dunn
episode.
would lose.
No, he wants to be the MC,
Yeah, he would still lose.
The Umka.
if you will.
He wants to be the Umka.
Well, because I've been doing
yeah,
them
Jimmy
for.
Dunn.
I did one with Shauna and Julie Benson and Tom King,
Shauna.
That's right.
and I've got 2 others scheduled for next week.
Oh man,
This
why
coming
didn't
week.
you ever invite us to these parties, man?
Because you suck.
Ooh,
Oh.
that's true.
Oh, the phone dropped.
Well, good thing you're not on it today.
Yep.
Is that floppy pants?
No, it was on the couch, and I reached for my power cord here, but the phone dropped. But it's fine.
It was a floppy couch.
That's a good thing about quarantine, Johnny. You're not losing stuff in taxis anymore.
It's true.
Ubers, you know.
God, I remember that C2E2. Yeah, one of my first iPhones dropped out of my pants.
Did you have to track down that guy and he wanted
he
money or something?
He was a student at Columbia College, and I had to wait all day until he was finally at home. But that's okay. I mean, at least he kept the phone. He was a good man.
But didn't he want like $100 or something?
Nope. No ransom.
It says Batman wouldn't be the character we know without Bill Finger's input. That's
You
true.
are correct.
That's absolutely true. And they finally acknowledged him.
That original Bob Kane drawing for Batman. He's got blonde hair, no mask.
Yeah.
His costume's like red and green.
It's right.
We were
right,
in San Diego. We were signing at the DC booth, and
His
Bill
granddaughter.
Finger's granddaughter came up to us and thanked us, and she liked all our stuff, and we're like, you know who we are? She goes, of course I do. So it was it's kind of weird and fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like all these chance encounters we have. You're sitting here all the time, just home. Like this quarantine is very natural for me. But when you go out into the world, you see people who are actually paying attention to you being at home.
Well, I'm nervous about what after the pandemic's over.
Right.
How's this going to impact conventions and live events?
Right.
And how long is it going to be for people to trust going to an event? Because, Dr. Fauci says if we don't have a vaccine, this could be a yearly thing.
Right. Or you just allow people to get sick and then they get better. It's kind of like any, I don't know, maybe it's like any.
Yeah, Artie, it's not like any. I'm sorry.
You're
wrong.
Yeah.
That's not correct, sir.
Maybe. I don't
That's
know.
kind of the problem. That's the problem. Well,
Right.
if it was like anything,
Kills people.
they'd already have the cure,
Right. I've been seeing a lot of videos of celebrities who are encouraging people to stay in their homes and not go out and practice social distancing. I think my favorite so far has been one from Robert De Niro, because it's just Robert De Niro. This was on Instagram. I saw it. He's sitting in a chair.
They did this for the state of New York because things are so out of hand
Well, that's
here.
the hot
that
spots.
That's it. This is the one. It looks like they put him right in front of his front door. So he's in the house and the door's right behind him, and he's sitting in a chair and he's looking at the camera and he's reading the cue cards and he's going, "Hello, I'm Robert De Niro. Stay in your house. Don't go out. I'm watching you."
Did he do that? Did he do the eyes?
He did,
That's fantastic.
At the end, he goes, "I'm watching you."
That's awesome. Did you see the one with Max Brooks and Mel Brooks? Where Max,
that was
Mel's
great.
son, and he goes to visit him, and he's got a glass, screen door or whatever, and Mel stays behind the glass, so he never comes out. And he's like, "Hey, I'm just checking in on my dad, but I'm not going inside because we shouldn't do that. We got to be careful with the old people and not, infect them or whatever." That's right. But it was very cute. And Mel, for 92 or whatever, looked fantastic and energetic. And it was like, thank God he's okay. And thank God he seems incredibly spry for being in his early 90s. It's pretty awesome.
Spry for a 90s guy.
Yeah.
I think it's Rappaport, his last name is. Michael Rappaport. He's an Irish guy. He always plays a cop or a me guy.
Yeah.
You should look at his. He swears through the whole thing, telling you to stay home and watch your kids, but it's real violently rated R. And he's real funny. I put it on there. And I listened to it, and I was laughing the whole time and thinking, man, this could be either career suicide or just like he's just in it. The Facebook user says it's Wayne. Even if there are cons this year, other countries may not let its citizens want citizens to leave their respective countries because it's not considered to be essential travel.
Wow. That means Wayne will be stuck in poor Ottawa.
Yeah, we have to go see him.
Yeah, but then we're bringing our American cooties to Canada.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a total new disease to humans. We have zero immunity to it, but at least it doesn't make apes smart.
How do you know, human?
Close. That's true.
You have no proof.
You don't know that yet.
There must be something smarter than man, or what is it, better than man out there.
I suppose this might mean the end of the human race if we're not careful, Dr. Death. Shut up, Cornelius, you idiot.
If your species dominates me, let it begin.
Don't
Let
make
it
me
happen.
pull out the sacred scroll to beat your ass.
Well, anything after June, because I think I should be done with my deadlines by June. Then anything can happen. I don't care. Let the apes take over.
I don't care. I don't
Like
care.
I got enough space in my yard to grow corn. I'm gonna grow corn and carrots, and I got a baseball bat, and I got a fence. So
Artie's ready for the zombie
I'm
apocalypse.
ready. I just have to finish my books.
Corn? Why corn?
They need to eat.
Why not?
I can make tamales and stuff. Tacos. I can make tortillas, and then carrots. Just carrots.
Corn and carrots.
Mm-hmm.
The
I know
double
I
C
can grow
ranch.
those things.
It cleans you right out. Corn is good.
I already have onions growing in my yard, like those little bitty onions. They're real small.
Nice green
And when
onions.
no, they're round ones. Like when we cut the lawn, it smells like onions because they're fresh. So the
Do you eat
previous
them?
owners had it. We do not, because I don't trust them. They're small and they're weird looking. But we also have
I don't trust
strawberries. Yeah, the onions. Once in a while, we'll cut the lawn and it'll smell like onions in the yard. It'll smell like Maxwell Street burgers. What's this onion smell? So you go to
Maxwell
Maxwell Street on Halsted.
My
Carrot tamales. Yeah, man. I'm gonna do it.
my aunt used to take me to Maxwell Street with her because that was the neighborhood where she grew up, and it's just like in the Blues Brothers. That's how it was back then. Live music and people with tables. Just like selling stuff off of like little card tables and stuff. It was fantastic. Like a flea market.
I used to go all the time. Yeah.
Yep.
And they had to keep moving it around because the college was building around there. But back in the day, I don't even like saying that.
It's been a minute since then.
It's been a minute. Yeah. It used to be, you go down there all the time and it was like that. People you don't want to drive down that street at all. It's awful.
Oh no.
You park on, walk around. But it was cool, man.
But my aunt was fearless because that was her old neighborhood. I don't care. I'm not scared. Fine, John. That's fine.
Well, you just stay there. People don't bother you. They know
No, and it was great. No, and the food was terrific. It was fantastic.
We used to get good clothes there. Real cheap clothes.
Socks, yeah.
Inexpensive. Socks, yeah. 5 pairs of socks for $1.
Yep.
It was
underwear.
Cool. It used to be culturally insensitive named town. That's what it used to be called.
That's sadly true.
Yeah, but we're not going to say that here.
No, we absolutely are not.
Then it could be a soundbite. Yeah,
it's a rude comment.
Culturally insensitive town. Yeah, that's what it's called. But now it's just called Maxwell Street Market Days, right?
Well, I don't think they do it anymore. I'm guessing.
I'm not sure. D. Brad Gibson says, movie tagline, he's got corn and a bat. Bring on the apocalypse. Yeah.
In a world near collapse, Art Baltazar was ready.
I'm ready.
Corn.
I don't care.
Corn and a bat and Netflix.
Look at him.
Netflix goes away.
Look at him. I'm not saying the guy's drinking water from a gallon jug. Look at him.
He's almost there.
I'm getting there.
And yet I'm the one that's peeing like a racehorse.
When me and my brother were little kids, we would have that gallon jug. And you finish a gallon of milk. And no matter what, finish a gallon of milk or finish a pitcher of lemonade, whatever it is, I would fill it all back up with water and tell my little brother, he's 4 years younger than me. And I would fill it up with water. And I said, bet you can't drink that. And he goes, I could drink it. I go, no, you can't. You can't drink that whole thing. He goes, I could drink it. So he would take the whole gallon of milk that's now filled with water. He would drink. So he would never finish, of course. But
did he throw up or anything?
He would just get so full he couldn't do it. And so, and now that he's home, he was in Mexico for like 20 years. So now he's been home, and we were telling all, remember when I used to make you drink all this? And he would say, yeah, I can never finish. And then he remembered, I forgot that we used to play a game. Whatever's in that, you got to eat it. so we would open the fridge and we see all the Tupperware containers and leftovers. And we would say, whatever's in that, you got to eat it. And we would open up. Sometimes you never know what it is. It could be, oh, good, I got pudding. Like, oh no, I got green beans. I got to eat them. And you just got to eat them cold, just like that. Whatever's in there, you got to eat it. It could be a bowl of gravy. You got to eat it. So my mom was listening to us tell, you used to make him drink a gallon of water? Like, yeah. And she was yelling at us like if we were still like 8 and 9 years old. How
You
dare
told
you
me-
touch your little brother?
You told me a story once, and it circled back to something you did afterwards. But
Yeah.
you told the story about you and your brother watching a TV show,
Mm-hmm.
and he started fidgeting, and you asked
Right.
him what's wrong.
Well, he was
And he had-
fidgeting because he needed to go to the bathroom, but he wanted to wait till commercial. And I seen it,
Right.
and he was like, he's trying to hold it. He's
And you're
squirming
like,
on the
well,
floor.
let's go to the bathroom. And he's like, no, I want to watch this. I'm going to wait for a commercial.
Yes. So the moment the commercial came up, he got up to run in the bathroom, but I ran and tackled him. Ugh. I ran and tackled him, and he's squirming, trying to fight me off, and I'm holding him down. And then I'm holding him down. He's trying to crawl to the bed. Let me go. And all of a sudden you hear, and we're like,
Oh,
we both-
no.
we both stop, and we both stand up, and then he wiggles his pant leg, and a piece of poop falls on the ground. And we both look at it, and he says, "Oh, a big piece." And I started laughing. I walked away.
And everybody watching, enjoy your dinner, by all means.
So
That's true. That really happened.
Of course it did.
he tells me this story, and then we're at a convention, and I need to call somebody, and there was a payphone on the wall,
Mhm.
and I go to reach for the payphone, and all of a sudden Art tackles me. This is way before we had cell phones,
Yeah.
and Art tackles me, but I don't stop because he's already told me the story.
Yeah.
So now it's a struggle for me to dial the phone as he's wrestling me to the ground.
So Sprinkle's one arm is dialing the numbers, and right when he gets to the last number, I hit that switch. Ching, it turns off. I'm like, oh. So now I like. He goes, no, for real. Come on, I gotta call. I gotta make this phone call. I'm like, okay, go ahead. So he goes, ding, 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 and I start wrestling him again.
Indeed, a different type of pudding pop.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, I have a younger brother. He's 2 years younger than me. And what he used to like to do, we both played baseball, Little League. And when we were kids, what he would do is we both had cups, the athletic supporter.
Of course. Yes.
What he would do is he would take, either from mine or his, he would take out that hard plastic piece that's in there that slides out, slides in and out. And I'd never see it coming. I'd be sitting there watching TV. He'd come up from behind me, and he'd take that triangular plastic piece, and he'd push it up against my face like an oxygen mask. And he would yell. He would just yell, breathe, breathe. And it always took me a second to realize what was happening because I couldn't see it. So he's holding this thing, and he's going, breathe. And I'm like, oh, my God, it's the cup. Get out of here. It was terrible. Because, you know where that thing's been.
It's been everywhere he has been.
Exactly.
Holding the
that.
tenants in place.
Tenants.
Yeah.
It's holding them in their apartments in quarantine.
All sweaty down there.
That's rough. That's rough. I never did
Freeze.
anything like that with my brother.
No, you just
I made
you
him
just
eat
made him poop his pants because
stuff. Made him
poor
eat
kid was
stuff.
trying to watch a TV show.
It's a big piece.
It's a big one.
It's a big
My
piece.
brother had all the best one-liners because Grandma would cook for us, and Grandma was I had a Southside Irish grandma. She was tough. She didn't care if you were arguing. If you argue or snitch on somebody, she call you a snitcher. Stay in the house. You don't go outside. I'm like, why? You just snitching on your cousin. Like, oh. So she didn't like that. She didn't like snitchers. But when she would cook for us, she'd make us all get in line, and she just put stuff like a prison. You hold your plate. She throws stuff on your plate. And then when you go sit down, you're looking at your plate, and it's all messed up. And so my brother looked at me and said, I have everything on my mashed potatoes. He always had these one-liners. Like, oh, a big piece. Or I have everything on my mashed potatoes. And that made me laugh. That would make it all better. Like, yeah, me too.
Big piece.
Yeah. I like that.
Man.
That's good
Nice.
stuff.
Another thing my brother used to do to me is he'd come up behind me and he would do the Heimlich. I wasn't choking. He would just
Yeah.
come up behind me and he would go, whoa, what's the matter? Are you choking? And he would do that. He'd keep doing this. And I'm like, I can't breathe. Like, well, now I'm choking. Yes. It was terrible. But there's a happy ending to this story. Years later, we're both of adult age.
Yeah.
And I was at a restaurant. I was there with my family. And my dad was eating and he started choking. He was choking on a piece of meat.
Oh my gosh.
So like everybody around us froze. Like nobody knew what to do. But I jumped up. I got up behind him and I started doing the Heimlich, the way I remembered my brother doing that to me. And it worked.
Did it work?
Dislodged the thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And all of a sudden my dad was like, oh, I'm good. I can breathe. And I sat down and I was like, wow,
Mhm.
it worked. It really worked. And all
I'm
those
glad
years
you did.
ago. Yeah.
He trained you well.
I'm glad
Yeah.
your dad wasn't Mo from the Three Stooges because he would
Come
hit
on,
you in the forehead.
Craighead.
and say, what are you doing? What are you doing, you moron?
Leave me alone, you dummy. What's the matter with you?
See, now that my brother came back after 20-year hiatus, he told me all these stories that I forgot about. That he said that there was whenever he would get up to go, we'd be home for summer. You know, parents working, we'd be home all day for summer, and then he would tell me that he would go he would go into the bathroom, and then I would turn off all the lights in the house. And then I would go hide. Yeah, I forgot about this. He told me, and my mom's listening. She's yelling at me for doing this. And I would go hide. And so when he come out of the bathroom, the lights are off. And then he would say, Art? And I wouldn't answer, are you here? And then I remember once in a while when he would look for me for a few minutes, I would just go wherever I was. I would go, whoa. Whoa. And then he wouldn't know, but he told my mom that, and I got yelled at for that. And then another one I would do is in the summer every day I'd wake up before him, and I would go in his room really quiet. I would go in his room really quiet and just scream. When I wake him up, I go real quiet and just go, get up, get up, get up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Every morning he would get scared awake, and then I walk out of his room. I don't know.
Your brother's probably all messed up.
That's probably why he moved to Mexico.
Yeah.
He's
no
like, I
wonder.
work this, I'm leaving. But he told me all that. I forgot about all that. And then my mom, how did you do that to your little brother?
These are the things that he does. Like Art does these things. Like we were at a show in New York, ChurchCon, I think it was, and it was kind of like a really slow, dull period. And Art's like, there's a really good echo in here. Like it's an old church. He goes, he goes, I wonder what it would sound like if there were whales in here. And he started going, and it would echo throughout the place. And he'd be doing it all weekend long. And people are like, who is that? Where is that coming from?
I don't know what that is.
I would just sidle up to the wall, like the cathedral buttress, and he'd just yell up the side of the wall, and it would carry across the place.
That's true. That really happened.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it.
Church cons, they were the worst. Worst.
Oh,
I remember that time we would get church con, the guy would be generous to give us an artist alley space. It was like $30 for a table, something like that. And he said, well, give me the money after. And he'd give us a little table, but then we're doing really good. I says, whatever's in there, you got to eat it. Everyone's new quarantine diet. I like that. That's how you get rid of leftovers. But we were in this church con. We're doing really good. And then all of a sudden, one of the Playboy centerfold models show up, and the guy says, oh, you got to move. We got to get this table to this lady. Like, oh. So then he moved me around a corner. I was by a fire exit door that it wasn't even in the aisle. It was off to the exit. Nobody even knew I was there. And I said, no, I'm not selling any books here. You got to move me again. So he gave me a little bitty table in the center of the aisle, like next to a pole. Yeah. sleeping. Yeah, he gave
Yes, I am.
next to a ball.
Yes,
me a
I
little-
am. Because this is such scintillating talk. Continue, please.
Well, he gave me a table next to an aisle, next to a pole, and then all of a sudden, one of the naked Playboy models said, "I'm hot." So he turned on this giant fan that's like one of those fans that make weather in movies. It was a huge, giant fan. And he turned on the fan to get the air breeze through there, and it blew all the stuff off of my table all over the place. And plus, me being set up in the middle aisle, I was creating a bottleneck in that aisle. So everybody was like, "Oh, I can't get around. Oh, I can't get around." And so they ended up moving me like 3-4 times throughout that show. And then finally, the guy came in and wanted us $30 for the table. And I said, "I'm not giving you $30 for a table. First of all, this happened. And he goes, "Well, I'm going to send Lou over here to collect." I'm like, "Well, go ahead, go send Lou." And he goes, "Oh, Lou's my guy, you know." And so Lou came over to me, and he was a real tiny guy. He was like a 5-foot guy, redhead, little beard. And then I told him my situation, and he went, "All right, forget about it. You don't need to pay." We'll edit all that out. That wasn't a good story.
You know what? In my mind, I edited it out when I was had my eyes closed.
Yeah,
So
I know.
that's fine.
Did they call it ChurchCon? Was that the name of it?
Church
Did they really call it that?
It was called Big Apple Con, but everybody called it Church Con because it was in a church basement.
Was that guy?
He was definitely involved, but no, it wasn't his show.
No.
But we did know him at that time. The guy.
Guy.
What was Jimmy Jawa? What was Jimmy Jawa from?
Jimmy Jawa was
so I could do my Jimmy Jawa story when you're done. By all means.
Jimmy Jawa. I would go to conventions and I would see this guy. He's a little person, dwarf, if you will, and I would see him and just say hi. And then when I met him, he told me he knew my uncle. I'm like, okay, my uncle in Wisconsin Dells has an antique store. I'm like, oh, cool. But I thought he was a Star Wars. I thought he was a Star Wars guy. I thought he was a Jawa from Star Wars.
A little person actor, absolutely.
Because at this time it was Star Wars was promoting the Men Behind the Mask tour. So they have Chewbacca and Vader. They were all there.
Yep.
And that's when I met him. And I just thought he was a Jawa. But it turned out that he was actually he's a promoter for a lot of the local shows like DuPage
flea
County,
markets and
Kane County.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when he said he knew my uncle, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I guess my uncle met the Star Wars guys at one point. And then I just named him Jimmy Jawa because he said his name was Jimmy. And now everyone in that circle of promoters calls him Jimmy Jawa.
Jawa, yeah. And then one time before a Wizard show, when they were setting up, Artie introduced me to him. And he's like, "Oh, Johnny," he goes, "You've heard me talk about this guy. This is Jimmy Jawa." I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And I extend my hand, and literally he goes, "Hi, how you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not shaking that hand right now. You'll excuse me, phlegm hand. I don't think so."
Elbow bump. Mm-hmm.
Nice to meet you. How you doing? How's it going?
Jimmy Jawa. And he still invites me to the shows. Once in a while I'll go, but yeah, he's all right. He's cool. But yeah, I thought he was a Star Wars celebrity, but he's not.
He is not the Sox guy.
He's the sock guy. No, the sock guy was the guy I knew when I was setting up at the flea market.
With your uncle?
No, me and my friend Bob were selling Power Ranger toys. I was this is before I was famous cartoonist, before Crybabies, or around that time maybe. It was around 90s. It was my lost year, maybe 93, 94, somewhere around there.
Mysterious lost year.
Yeah. But I was setting up at flea market selling toys, Power Ranger toys right before Christmas, and we were making a lot of money. But outside, it was snowing, and there was a few tables. There was one table with a whole pile of socks, and there was one guy with a winter coat. He had the hoodie. All you saw was his nose sticking out because he had the scarf. You see his nose, and all he would yell is, "Socks!" Yeah. And that was it. It was like 5 socks for $1. I bought those socks too.
Five socks for $1.
5 pairs of socks for $1.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
not
right.
the glove, not like 3 gloves for $1.
Well, yeah, wait a minute. I think that's like, how many boobs did you think I saw today, Marge? 15. And then he passes out.
But yeah, that was cool. That was the sock guy. He made it into one of my comics too. He's a good man.
Did you have to make your own pairs of socks out of the pile? Did you have
No,
to
you
put
buy
them together?
bundles. was like
Oh,
bundles. I don't know if it's 3 for $1 or 5 for $1, but you get bundles.
Yeah, I'm sure they mysteriously like fell off a truck.
I don't know.
We don't know how we got them exactly.
They were good for 1 or 2 washes, and then that's it. They'd fall apart.
not even good socks.
And for $1.
Yeah, exactly. What do you expect for 5 pairs for $1?
Like when you're single and
20
you have an
cents a
apartment.
pair.
Well, when you're single and have an apartment, is it cheaper to buy a new pair of socks for $1 or do the laundry? What's cheaper? So I just buy socks.
That was a Jerry Lewis quirk. He would only wear socks once, and he would donate. Like they would donate his socks. They'd wash them and then donate them to like shelters and stuff like that. But yeah, he had a fetish about not wearing socks more than once at a time.
I like that. Is Frankel sleeping now?
No,
Oh,
They
something
shouldn't.
here.
You shouldn't wash the Jerry Lewis socks. They should keep them
that's right.
as they were. Worn.
You got a little bit of my sweat in Mrs. Mellon.
But he was always nice to me.
Like mystery grab bags of socks.
No, not even close.
Mystery grab bags of socks. But it would be a mystery if you know it's socks in the bag. It's not really a mystery.
It could be something else. You never
Could
know.
be a mystery.
Could
It
be
might
a
be
Mike
Mike Norton.
mystery.
Julie,
Look at
the
all those
mystery.
socks. It's 5 for $1.
I wonder what this means. This
What
is
is
a
the
mystery.
sixth sock after you get 5 of them, Julie?
There's only 6 socks and 4 pairs. What?
I've only got 2 feet. How am I supposed to wear all these socks at the same time?
Only 3 gloves in this bag.
Put the pugs on. Actually, I know a use for that 5th stock that it could cover. Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy.
Oh
Mhm.
boy.
If you're just joining us, this is the Oh Yeah Podcast Live.
Now, in this case, that's a fair comment because people might be like coming mid. They might be discovering
Sure.
the
This
feed.
is live.
That's right.
We're still live. We're watching. I tried to link it to
A screening party.
Facebook. Yeah, but I couldn't. I don't know how.
That's
I
all
don't
right.
know if you can from a group. I'm not sure.
It ends up echoing a lot.
But conceivably, we could have even if Scoot is here, we could even have one more person and do 6.
Ooh,
Oh,
we could do sex.
We could do like one of those party lines. Call 900-428. You'll have a great time. I was like when they did that on Simpsons, and it was all guys. And it was like the Sea Captain and Krusty and Sideshow Bob and all these people, or Sideshow Mel.
Don't make fun of those commercials, Johnny. In the 90s, they paid for my my rent.
oh, that's right.
Why were you a sex operator back then?
I worked on a bunch of those commercials.
Hello, this is the Talk Adventure.
Yeah.
Hello, caller. What are you wearing?
What are you wearing right now?
Khakis.
If you go on YouTube and you search all the there's a Tony Randall tax one that I did, and there's a I did a bunch of them with Grandpa Al Lewis. Grandpa's hotline you could call, and he would
Hey,
tell you
it's Al
scary
Lewis.
stories.
Call Grandpa. I'll tell you where you can go.
Yeah, he would laugh.
He was awesome because he was actually legitimately funny, but had the craziest jobs. He was a legitimate basketball scout for the Knicks, and we had him on the Score, our sports radio station, several times, and he really did know what he was talking about when it came to high school and college basketball. He was amazing. So, but yeah, and then he had his restaurant, of course. Yeah, Grandpa's.
Was it called Grandpa's?
Yep, in Manhattan. Yeah, it was in Manhattan.
Didn't he run? He ran for something too.
Yeah, he ran for
office.
For governor of New York, yeah.
Chris Erickson says, when I moved to Chicago in 2004, there used to be a guy at the corner of Fulton and Damon, and he was always trying to sell socks to people at the red light. Yeah,
Sure.
That makes sense.
Well,
Sock guys need to stay in business.
I had a girlfriend that was going to DePaul, and I would always, on the way to seeing her, there was a guy on the street selling bouquets of flowers, and I'd always buy like a cheap bouquet and give them to her and stuff.
Honey chips. That's what
I'm glad you were able to stay with that person because of all the cheap flowers.
I broke up with her.
I love you, Yoko.
I did.
Probably all the money you had to spend on those cheap flowers.
Exactly.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
All right, then.
All right, good. I'm glad that joke landed. Okay,
Exactly.
be done now.
Good story. Good story, Yoko. Keep going.
That's great. Yeah.
I liked you better when you were asleep.
That's great.
That was funny when you were asleep.
I
3
didn't.
times,
I could
but I'm
care
not
less.
counting.
I like how Art had Yoko's girlfriend calling him Yoko.
She was her name was Honey Chips. I'm Honey Chips.
No, she didn't talk like that. Thank you.
I'm gonna tear you
She had a good,
What?
she had a good
Why
voice.
did she sound like the gorilla that was after Great Babe?
I'm gonna tear you apart. And your friend.
The greatest spit take on of the '80s.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenio Hall. That's like a
That's good.
shower when he does the spit take.
They've been saying they're making a sequel to that movie for like 3
They
years.
were. I mean, I don't know how the virus affected things, but yeah, there's like a whole big master plan of doing the Rudy Ray Moore movie that came out. Dolomite Is My Name, and then the Saturday Night Live thing, and then also there was going to be, and maybe they filmed it already, a Netflix concert, a new concert film, and then also Coming to America.
Roxanne, you don't have to turn on the red light. I like that. Al Lewis used to hang out with Al Goldstein.
Al Goldstein, the publisher of Screw magazine, ladies and gentlemen.
Ah, I'm the Dr. John, and I'm listening.
I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. That's the only Dr. John I know.
Hello, caller. I'm listening.
Well, we obviously
Like a
have
therapy
listeners because
session.
they keep saying stuff, so that's
Yeah,
good.
at least 3 guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what Kelsey Grammer's up to these days.
You're right. You know what? I think his wife is on one of those housewife shows.
Yeah, one of
No,
his
he-
former
he got
wives. Yeah,
divorced,
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a Cinemax softcore porn with her.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Did they show stuff?
Yes, they did.
Oh,
Kelsey
wow.
Grammer's ex-wife.
Yes, she did.
Oh boy.
I thought you were going to say with him for a second.
Let
I'm
me
never-
take
I'm
my
never gonna
robe
watch
off.
Good
Did
morning,
anyone order a
Seattle.
pizza?
I'm listening.
I love Frasier. Frasier's a great show.
I like that show.
John Mahoney, Chicago actor who played Frasier's dad. Hi,
right.
Frasier.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of the 20th century or 90s Fred Merckx. Hi, Frasier. Hi, Niles.
Yeah, it's true.
We were watching an episode of I Love Lucy because they popped up on Hulu, and we were having lunch, and I'm like, oh, let's watch an episode of this, and it's the one where Lucy thinks Ricky's trying to kill her.
That's a good one.
She's all crazy, and he slips her a Mickey because Fred comes, hey Rick, why don't you slip her a Mickey? You know? And my son is watching this and goes, how is any of this okay? I'm like, well, back then I guess it was. I mean, it's
Exactly.
like we didn't think about it. I mean, during the 70s watching these things, I was like, I must have watched this episode like 50, 100 times.
You had Ralph Cramden threatening domestic abuse on every Honeymooners episode. One of these
Bang,
days,
zoom, yeah.
I'll right in the kisser.
He's gonna punch her in the face. He wants to punch her.
It's
Yeah.
funny when the big husband threatens the little wife by punching her.
We
That's
watched Popeye the other day, and Bluto's choking olive oil. And my
Yep.
daughter was upset.
I love
I can't
this.
watch
Hey,
this.
hey, wait a minute. Come here. How you doing?
She said no a whole bunch of times, and now he wants to choke her.
Yep.
Yeah, we
And
like
but
that.
the
as
biggest
kids.
thing that my son was surprised, shocked at, was how people would just randomly walk in and out of Lucy's apartment, and he's like, don't they have like locks on the doors? I'm like, nobody would lock their doors back then. And he goes, how was that a thing? I'm like, when we were kids, we never used to lock our doors.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember that in the 70s, going over to friends' houses and the doors were unlocked. Absolutely.
There's always something cooking in the house.
That's true, too.
Mhm.
What are you doing here? I'm looking for Mark. He's not here.
Camille.
Camille, you see.
It's true. Look at Cosby gearing up down there.
Hello.
That's what he does in jail to like make sure that the guys with the shivs don't affect him or anything. He's like bumping around.
Dr. Cosby in jail.
Exactly. Drop your pants, you see, and cough. Now you better go see the real doctor.
I call this my Huxtable. The Huxtable
think-
Shuffle. Mhm.
Can't cure this, man. You gotta go see the real guy.
The real guy.
I can't cure this virus you got, man. I gotta look at the time. Well, I better be going.
Dr. Huxtable, it burns when I pee. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, don't pee.
Just hold it in.
Don't pee. Don't pee. I don't know. Don't pee, you see.
just hold it in.
Mhm.
Next.
Hey Johnny,
And
when
he's
you're doing
blind.
overnights on the radio, do you doze off? Are you alone or with other people?
Well, no, I'm alone. I mean, when I was working in the studio pre-virus, there were, the news anchors and stuff. No, thankfully, I mean, I'm not on overnight tonight. I'm on 6 a.m. tomorrow. So, but yeah, it's you're on every 10 minutes. So, no. And, if you're dozing or whatever, all right, walk around, grab some coffee. Everything Artie does to stay awake.
Mhm. I hear you when I'm driving around, Johnny. It's pretty cool.
Traffic, weather.
Traffic check, weather.
You know,
Traffic
I did wonder about that. Like how if it is every 10 minutes, like how does your mind not wander and how do you not forget like, oh, I got to come in now?
Well, there's sports is always 2 minutes before I go on. My stuff is on the 8s. Sports is at a quarter after and a quarter till, or 16 after and 46 minutes. At 46 minutes after the hour. So those two are always, and then the top and the bottom you're always ready too because they're cutting a network pretty close to after you do your thing. They do a minute of weather and then they go to the network.
Sure.
So
Well, that makes sense.
So yeah,
it's I'm thinking back to when I was in college. I went to Bradley University in Peoria, Illinois.
Mhm.
And I took a radio TV class, and every week we would do a full production. We would do like a whole 20-minute news show. There'd be people sitting at the desk doing the news, and then they would cut to some kind of news package or whatever.
Right.
And I'd be in, there was a master control room, and I'd be in charge of rolling the tape when they would say, all right, let's take a look at the whatever. And it was so easy for your mind to drift. Like all of a sudden people would be yelling like, go, roll the tape. And I'd be like, oh my God, I was so busy watching the show. And then the teacher would yell, he'd be like, we're not watching TV, we're doing TV. That was his thing. So that's why I wondered. I thought like, man, how do you focus and make sure you jump in at the right time?
No, it's a performance. I mean, it's, you go on for 90 seconds. And right now during the virus, I only have to do 45 seconds per report because there's still, there aren't a lot of people on the road.
There's no cars on the road.
Well, but no, there actually are trucks in it. Commerce is still going to stores and overnight's still a very active time. And in fact, during my shift, I was on overnight Saturday night into Sunday morning. And 3:00 in the morning, a freight train derailed, and they had to close 2 metro stops for people that are still using public transportation. Our electric train system, not to be confused with the L or the subway. But so no, there is a need. And again, truckers listen to us a lot for information.
Yeah, they still have to work.
Right,
Mhm.
right. So
Skok, when you said you were in that production class, I took film and television courses when I was in college, and I was directing, and we were we were doing this live TV shoot. So I was in the control room, and one of the floor managers, because it was always these students, and she was from Queens, but she had like a weird kind of like her THs would sound like Fs. So she was telling her friend that she went to Macy's and they had a white sale over at Macy's, so she had to cross over the Throgs Neck Bridge. So I was the Throgs Neck Bridge to the wife sale, and I'm like, why are we talking? We're in the middle of a shoot right here. We're doing TV. Like, shut up. We're trying to work here. But she kept talking about the wife sale.
You can't understand her anyway. Yeah.
The frogs. Welcome to Earth.
I had to do that once. I had to direct. Like everybody would switch their positions when they would do the live show, and I was directing, and I dreaded it because I felt like it was intense. Like you're controlling the whole show, like what all the cameras are showing, like, and the directions you're giving are like, you say ready camera 2, and then you say take camera 2, and then that's what makes camera 2 show up on the screen. So I'm sitting there and I'm like sweating, and you know, they ran one of the news packages so we could all take a rest for a minute, and I was like, ready crap my pants? Take crap my pants. It was awful. Like I'm like, how do people do this? It's so intense, but made me appreciate it.
I'm sorry, Facebook user, we can't read your name, but just wanted to chime in and thank John for answering my email and questions about recording equipment and recommendation. It's helped tremendously.
It's my pleasure, dude. Absolutely. If I had my email up, I would. Here, I'll do it actually right now. I do have my email up. Oh, yeah. I will name check you and say my pleasure. Yeah, he asked if I can give him tips to help his son podcast. It was over the weekend, I believe, or last week.
Would you say this one of those lines? He's the best in the business.
No, well, he just asked me about equipment.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, hold on. Let's see here.
Krypton.
My son.
I'm trying to find it.
Krypton.
Exactly.
Come on, you two. We gotta hurry up. We gotta clean this place up before the boss gets home.
Leticia Diaz, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Get that kryptonite out of here.
I don't know, Mo.
You dummy. Right. You want Superman to get sick?
Gee, Mo, it's called gold kryptonite. That's right. Wait a minute. The operative word is gold. We could be rich.
You dummy. That's periwinkle kryptonite. What are you going to do to him now?
Makes you fabulous.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, look at him dance, Mo.
Makes you temporarily fabulous.
Well.
Oh, Clark.
Thank you, everybody, for coming, because we've definitely run our course at this point. So I want to say thanks to all of you out there in the place of the Facebook lands and the I Like Pinks.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us for the All Yeah podcast live on Facebook. And I like Pink very much.
We may do this every once in a while, but probably never again, because Johnny always yells at me. So.
Don't forget to get your copy of Dumb and Dumber, the novelization. But remember, it's abridged. So
take me to the abridged. Dun, 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 dun.
You're gonna miss out on some things. Like there's a part where Harry experiences a case of watery feces.
Oh,
it's not in the book.
It's not in the book.
You've seen the movie for the extras.
I want to know how they interpret that part when he goes, "You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?" And then yells in that guy's ear when they're in the car. Is that in there?
That's a good question.
Basically, that's what the noise he made.
So yeah, hopefully this was good for everybody, and probably not, but we thank you anyway.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out and chatting and putting up your comments and following us. And I'm going to share this as many places as I can. And make sure to follow us on all of our streaming things that are on the bottom there. Oh,
and Patreon you guys have now, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, that's scrolling all across the bottom there. So yeah. Don't do that with your hands, John. It's right in front of the camera. It's not good. But I want to say thank you, and I want to say I like Pink very much, Lois.
Yeah, I like Pink very much.
Yeah, sure. Pink much.
I like Pink very much, Lois.
Anakin. Yeah.
Anakin.
Do it, Artie.
See you next time.
Do it, Artie.
Yes.
Okay, bye-bye. Oh, yeah.